Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Alien vs. Predator Dutch and LINN figure, a 2-pack which I know many people were very excited about. We already got the Preds, we got the Xenos, now we have 2 human characters which are in the arcade style, and generally speaking, NECA's done a really good job with that style, so I think many people are very excited for this set. Is it any good? Well, it's not the best thing they've ever made. There are some things that are really good about it, but there are a few things which are quite bad, at least on the ones I got. So, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to end up feeling about these. So let's go ahead and get these guys off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, since this is a 2-pack, we're going to go through each figure in one video, but I'm going to do them still separately within the one video. We're going to go kind of quickly so that doesn't take up all of your day. So including her hair, she's 7 inches without the top part of her hair sticking up. She's about 6 3/4. That's going to make her about 17 and 18 centimeters. So still a 7-inch scale. And I have to say, at first glance, this is a really nice looking figure. Very bright colors, very saturated. We have a few different shades and paints and colors and things on the armor. Very nicely done. The camo is done well, especially considering it's done with yellow and light orange or bright orange. Not easy to paint. They did a good job. And then we have that kind of camouflage look. Again, very clean. Armor on the knees looks good. The feet look good. The holster thingy looks good. That's all fine and dandy. That's wonderful. Her face looks like someone stomped on it. I'm gonna stop. It's ugly. It's really, really, really bad. It's terrible, and some people are trying to excuse it. They're saying like, well, she's supposed to look like she's in an anime. That's the art style they went with, and yes, that's true. They did do it in a very anime-like style. However, this doesn't look anything like it. This looks terrible. This looks like, I don't know. I'm not going to say any mean things because you're not allowed to on the internet anymore, but it doesn't look good. It's a really terrible, terrible sculpt for the face, and paint job looks bad too. I don't know what happened. I don't know. And then the paint job for the hair thing is terrible. There's red all over the hair, not only on the thingy. But the sculpt is cool for the hair. The way they have these different pieces glued together to give it the layering, that's really nice. So aesthetically, it's like 90% really good and then 10% really bad. So I'm gonna drop it down to a 7. The face sculpt being that bad. Maybe it's not even that bad of a sculpt. Maybe it's just the paint, but all I can look at is what I have here. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's only a 7 out of 10. That head/face just really, really tanks the score for the aesthetics. Otherwise, it's really good looking. As far as the accessories go, we do have her katana, which is nicely done, and it goes in the scabbard, which is on her back, which is on her belt permanently. So it's always facing in this direction. So when you put the sword in, I'll go ahead and do that for you in case you're not sure what that's like. You put the sword in right there, and then her gripping hand is over here. Well, that's not gonna work. You can't do that. It's not a thing that a human can do. So that's really not good. That's a bummer that she holds it in her right hand. Scabbard goes this way. Maybe that's the way the sprite was, so I'll give him a little slack there. But we do also have her pistol, which goes in her holster over here, which is nicely done. But her pistol hand is also her right hand. So you can either have the gripping hand or the pistol hand. And then on her left hand, we have a secondary hand, which doesn't do anything. So you can only use one accessory at a time, and she can't really grab her sword because in real life that wouldn't work and it looks silly. So accessories for her, 6 out of 10 because they're awkward and you can only use one at a time, and that drives me nuts. If you have a sword and a gun on a character, make sure they can hold them both at the same time. These are action figures. They're all about imagination and creativity, not you have limited options. I don't like that. It's a bummer. Okay, time for the articulation. The hair is on a ball peg, which works really well, surprisingly well. It does create kind of an odd look where it tucks in, but I don't mind that because I like the fact that you have the options of posing the hair in different ways. That's pretty cool. Head is also on a ball peg, and it gives you pretty good range. Not the best we've ever seen, but it's pretty good. I'll take it. That's nice. Shoulder pad is connected in the front and in the back, so this arm is very terribly worthless. This arm is on a swivel hinge. It doesn't go quite up horizontal, but it's pretty good. Full rotation. Single jointed elbow, just about 90 degrees with rotation there. The elbow pads are soft pieces, and they do seem to be stuck on a lot of the figures, so be careful. You might end up with black smudges from where the rubbery piece was stuck. Wrists are a swivel and a hinge, but the hinge is in the forearm, which means the articulation is almost worthless. It's terrible. That's never the right way to do that. You want the hinge in the hand. not so that it reacts after the swivel. Whereas if you swivel it and then hinge it, it's not as good. So that's a problem. Diaphragm joint is a single ball peg, it feels like, and it's not in the diaphragm, it's in the waist. She only has one joint, and it's minimal, so mostly a swivel with a little bit of leaning. She does have a diaper situation going on, which is generally okay, but her butt hangs down a lot. And the front part hangs down a lot, so it's really kind of cumbersome. And I get what they're going for, like the baggy, not camo, what's it called? Cargo pants, see if I can English. And it's okay, once you get it posed, it's not terrible, but you have limited posability because of it. Legs don't go any farther out than that. Going forward, you're instantly folding plastic, and I don't know if that's a good thing. I mean, it's not. And the legs are really loose, by the way, and they're stuck together. So, not pleased with that. Thigh swivel is stuck on both legs. We have a single jointed knee, just like the elbows. Minimal range. It is a swivel hinge, and the knee pads are pegged in on the bottom, so they don't move around very much, even though they're separate pieces. So minimal range there, and then the feet, which look excessively large. I don't think they look like that in the game. They're actually on a single ball peg. It feels like a single ball peg, but they're also pretty loose and have minimal range. So articulation on this figure is only going to be a 6 out of 10 also. It's not particularly good. This 2-pack right here is not indicative of most of NECA's work, and it's kind of disappointing because it looks so cool at first glance, but then as soon as you get into it, it's not particularly good. So her overall rating is only going to be 6 out of 10. Let's go ahead and look at Robo Arm guy. So this guy stands just about 17.5 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to 7 inches, which does make him seem not quite tall enough compared to her. They're almost the same exact size, which makes her really big. Her head is actually bigger than his. They're not, I don't know, they just don't really line up. They don't look like they belong together. Stylistically, they're very different, especially in the head sculpt. And then the scaling is just weird. It's very strange. So, I don't know. They don't really look like they belong together. This guy is kind of in the same boat. His camo paint job is really good. They did a little bit of the stylized shading on his chest, which is really good. Arm is standard shading. She didn't really have any shading on her arms that was worth mentioning. They did a little bit of the stylized paint job on the boot, but just a tiny bit. His knee pads got it. His gun, well, I guess it's a gun. His arm has that stylized paint job. His backpack does. His pouches do. But it's like half stylized and half not. So it doesn't quite have the appeal of the arcade. And then the face just looks like 10 barrels of garbage. It's just, what the hell? What the hell? It doesn't look arcadey. It doesn't look anime-like. It doesn't look real. It's just like they took a realistic life-like face and they painted some of the hair yellow. The rest is all skin tone, and there's no details. It's just like muddy wash on top of muddy wash with a little bit of shading for a beard stubble, I guess. It's nasty. It doesn't look good. It is 100% unappealing. So that's really bad. I do like the shading that's here, for what that's worth. Even though it's not like arcadey, it still looks really good. But aesthetically, this guy gets a 5 out of 10. Robot arm, not saving it. Camo paint job, not saving it. His face is rough, and his hips are as wide as his shoulders. So he has a lot less of that heroic, overly built look than he should. He looks kind of pot-bellied because of the heavy shading for down here, lighter shading up here. It's not very appealing. It's not very appealing at all. All right, as far as his accessories go, we do get one blast effect, which pegs into his gun, and that's pretty cool. Looks pretty nice. Then we get an alternate robot hand, which is just kind of like a slightly relaxed hand. So we have the fist one, and then we have the slightly relaxed one. Don't use the joints on the hand. They look, at least the thumb one looks kind of like it's usable. It's not. Don't use it. It's all sculpted on there. So accessories on that guy, 5 out of 10. That's like none, really. I mean, the blast effect is nice, but that's about it. I guess that's okay. I don't know what else you would do. Okay, 6 out of 10, fine. You talked me into it for his accessories. All right, time for the articulation. Head is on a really nice ball peg. It works well. I like that. That's good. Shoulder on this side. Swivel hinge, horizontal, full rotation. That's fine. No problems there. We have, let me show you, a single jointed elbow, which is a swivel hinge. A little bit better than 90 degrees. We have a soft elbow pad, obviously. That'll move out of the way. Wrist on this guy feels like, it's on a ball peg, I guess. It's just a ball peg, and it's a secondary hand, even though he has no secondary thing to hold. So Is that just a reused part from one of the Arnold figures? I don't know, but having his hand like that is kind of silly since he has nothing to hold. Diaphragm joint, let's see. It is somewhat usable. There's a little bit of range in there. It's gonna rotate a little bit, lean a little bit, but not much. Waist is just a swivel. Belt is a soft piece on top, but waist is just a swivel. We'll get to this arm in a minute. Hips are very loose front to back. They don't seem to be grabbing each other, at least, so that's good, but they are very loose front to back. Going out to the side seems to be really fine. He can do like no problem splits. That's really good, but they're very loose. And thigh swivel is okay, but very, very loose. Single jointed knee, not quite 90 degrees. Floating knee pad is not connected. You do get some rotation in there. Knees look good, but they don't have much range. Not quite 90 again, that's not very good. Then for the ankles, they are just a single ball peg, but they get decent range and they're not very loose, so I'll give it to them there. That's all right. Now onto the gun arm. The shoulder is basically your standard type of shoulder. Underneath this pad right here, you have a standard ball hinge, which doesn't go up very far, but it does have the hinge, and you can rotate it around. But this piece is not connected to the arm. It's connected to the backpack, so it gets in the way almost immediately. You can pose it a little bit, but you're not going to want to do too much. These tubers are connected from arm to arm, so it's not going to get in the way. This one goes all the way to the backpack, but it's fine. So you can rotate the arm as much as you want, except for where this piece is limiting it. So that's definitely a little bit of a hindrance. I don't know how much they could have gotten away from that. This piece doesn't get in the way too much because it's also on a little hinge, but the arm just doesn't have that much range. Well, it finally went. All right, so you can get the arm up there. So that's okay. Can't do that. Yeah, that's pretty good. You can pose the arm pretty well at the shoulder. It was stuck for a while, so I thought it was just limited there, but it's pretty good now, so that's good. For the rest of the shoulder, or arm, we have a swivel for our bicep, then we have a single joint for the elbow, which this green piece right here slides in, but it's still very limited range. Pistons work in the back as well, so that's cool, but mine's completely floppy, and I think it's because it's not assembled properly. You can see these kind of split on the two ends. It's floppy, like it doesn't even hold its own weight, so that's a big bummer. The wrist is on a ball peg, but it's mostly just going to be a swivel. It doesn't really do anything else. These guys move in and out, so that's kind of cool. I like that. I remember something else moving in and out. Yeah, this guy too back here moves in and out, so that's pretty cool. I don't think I'm missing any other things that move, but either way, it's being completely floppy makes it worthless. I can't pose him using his gun arm, so that's a big time bummer. So articulation on this guy gets a 6 out of 10 at best. It's not great. The hips are loose. The torso doesn't really work. The knees don't have great range, and this arm being completely flaccid, at least on mine. Maybe other ones are better, but on mine it's very floppy. So final verdict on this guy as well. His face is atrocious. His arm is floppy. His articulation is only mediocre. He gets a 6 out of 10 as well. So that means this 2-pack, while at first glance looks really cool, and I'm sure a lot of people really wanted to get it, their styles don't even match. Like, look at his face and look at her face. Neither of them match, and neither of them look good. It's not a good 2-pack, honestly. I don't know what happened. You guys know I would much rather things be good, especially when companies send me review samples like NECA does. But I have to be honest, this is not it's not a good 2-pack. There's a lot of problems. Average at best. Final verdict, I guess high end of average because her paint job is pretty cool. I'm gonna say 6 out of 10. I can't go higher than that, and I could easily go lower. It's not a good 2-pack, honestly. I'm sorry, NECA. I'm sorry to anybody who likes this, but I can't, in good faith, recommend this to anybody unless you absolutely want these two characters, and it's your only option, which it is, but it's not a good 2-pack. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up just about every single day. We do videos like this all the time, and I have thousands of videos already on the channel, so you might want to check those out. So make sure you come back for that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.